Hi, it's time for another episode of The Thought Project, just so you know, and today is the first episode of the series for August 2023. Thank you. We're going to start with Pump Up the Volume by Mars. Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume. So that was a little bit of Pump Up the Volume just to start the show out today. I hope you could hear enough of it in the background. It's kind of turned down a little lower than I would like. Whatever. It's up as high as it goes. So anyway, it's time for their episode of The Thought Project, just so you know, for August 2023. And we're going to go through talking about some acting out with some performers and talk a little bit about China and economics in the U.S., U.S. credit rating, a little bit about the Biden administration, and I think that's going to take us through about as much time as I'm going to spend on the show. I've decided the shows need to really be down to like 2 a week and a little bit shorter. Just I collect so much information, research, and I have so many other things to do that I really can only put together a couple a week, 3 at most. It just gets to be a lot, and the shows are getting like way too long, I think, time-wise, since most people really prefer, I think, from what looking at analytics, you all seem to really enjoy like the 15-minute show, even like a 7-minute show. We get to a half an hour, anything beyond 20 minutes, there's a big drop off. So sorry. I realize people don't need quite that much information, but I have a gift for research and putting information together. And for me, it can almost be like unending. And that's a long story as to how I became that way, but it was just part of my development. So anyways, let's go with the big stuff right now. So the big thing right now is that the US was given a downgrade on credit, and that was from a group called, let's see. Yeah, it's been the biggest downgrade since S&P Global downgraded our credit like about 12 years ago. And then it's Fitch that downgraded the U.S. credit now. And Janet Yellen already made a statement on the issue. She said the U.S. has a dynamic economy. It's the U.S. economy remains the most dynamic and the world's largest. And it's the most innovative economy, which I would agree with. We're definitely innovators. We've had a lot stolen by the Chinese and Russian mafia from our country, but our people stay very innovative. Look at me. I'm hugely creative and always innovating. But anyways, and it's important to note that Moody's Investor Service is the only one to keep the U.S. at the highest grade for credit. So Moody's is pretty important. So is S&P Global. I don't think that much of Fitch. I hardly ever hear of them, and they just don't seem important to me. But those are kind of the three biggies, and Moody's is still keeping us, so that's good news. And S&P Global, that hurt. That hurt a lot. That happened 12 years ago, though. So that could always change with events. It's also important to note that there's a lot of articles coming out on smaller economic items like China's economic problems. They're pulling back, investors pulling out, means lower milk prices in the U.S. So that's something to look forward to, is us all being able to pay less for milk. Me personally, I drink lactose-free milk, or almond milk, or even oat milk. But anything that brings down the cost of milk in this country is great. I think they're probably referring to cow's milk specifically, so I have no idea if it'll affect the cost of oat and almond milk. But if cow's milk becomes cheaper, you have to figure that competitors in the marketplace will then also want to lower the prices to remain competitive. But since they're also considered specialty allergy items, their prices will probably stay somewhat higher than what you would pay for a gallon of milk from a cow. Correct? So, and let's talk about something else here that's been going on. It's a little strange. The Biden administration has approved the pullback of about 1,500 active duty troops on the border. And that's through the U.S. military is actually pulling back troops. So they were there for 90 days, and they're pulling back about 11. Let's see, 11,000 troops. That's not right. Nope. 1,100 troops will be done on August 8th, and then they will be leaving the remaining number there for some time afterwards that hasn't been named. So it's 1,100 that will be actually done August 8th. And there was a deployment of 1,500. So they're leaving behind like X amount just for the time being. They're saying 400 remain, but those numbers, like, you know, so of course there could always be another deployment and putting troops back into that position. Who knows? Anyway, so, with the way things have gone, it's just, there was a surge of the border, troops are deployed. Now there's a feeling that things have gotten better, so they're pulling them back again. But whatever's been going on with the border has been very real. What I saw in Virginia was definitely really bad. It was horrible. And I just had to get out. So I have no idea if I'll go back down to Virginia as a result of all this. For me, everything is about economics and, work and personal decisions. So we'll see what happens. But I also want to note that Governor Greg Abbott of Texas has signed legislation to give more power to the police because they've been having a lot of problems with people doing street takeovers and street racing. As you noticed in an earlier episode, I talked a lot about what was going on in Los Angeles and, like, for example, Holly Berry not being able to get help and cars chasing around her, being trapped in certain situations. Those are what they are talking about when they say street takeovers. That's literally people being caught and blocked in certain streets and not being able to go where they need to. We used to have problems like that all the time in Northern Virginia and DC and Maryland. So that's one thing that's gotten better is it's not so easy to just chase someone around and try to trap them in a car and do a street takeover or street racing. However, out in LA, street racing is still a huge problem. Makes LA really dangerous. As you've noticed, there's been a few articles, like over in, I think one of the shopping malls in downtown Studio City in LA recently, like it was Prada. Some people just walked in and walked out. The security didn't do anything. They just stole a whole bunch of, merchandise from the store. And then nobody really wants to go to Santa Monica anymore, even though it's beautiful. It was always dangerous, but now it's just too dangerous, too gross. It's that kind of stuff that I think Abbott is trying to attack down in Texas. Texas obviously has always had a much firmer stance on these issues and come down harder on people engaged in illegal activity like street takeovers and street racing. So there you go for that. And as far as, we do need to talk about something else here that I noticed and went through with Kendrick, and this was really strange. The guy that runs the studio, whatever agency, I don't even want to call it anymore because it's this bizarre big company that's supposed to be an agency that does all this other weird stuff that's normally left to the place of studios, right? So it's a little strange. But his idea of economics and paying people is he wanted them to work for free if they weren't Russian, and then he expected them to take items that he'd found that were damaged as payment. Well, why would I want a broken table or broken chairs as payment? Or, to say, here, stay in this one place for free or something. Like, it's not really free. It's just weird that you would give somebody something that's broken and damaged as payment. And I said, well, that's not really payment. Nobody'd want that. And he said, of course not. He said, you're not Russians. I don't care about paying you. And that is a common issue with the Russian mafia, that they will damage things, damage a computer, damage something else, and then want you to take that as payment. And the reason is that they stole it. And there's this bizarre idea. I used to see this sometimes with Cersei when I was growing up. She would go into a store and damage something of theirs and assume that they would give it to her for free. Well, a store, for example, with like a carton of eggs, if you broke 2 of them, that doesn't mean those other eggs are useless. So I would see stores, like she would do it to a store. The store would go and just be like, oh no, we can still use these. They take them and send them off to the bakery to use. So this idea that you're going to damage someone or something and then use it as payment, when first of all, nobody wants a broken item as payment. 2, it's just destructive to other people and their property to destroy what belongs to them and try to give it to somebody else. And 3, it's not payment. Like, you still have to give them money. Still have to pay them for the work. And if you don't have an employment contract with them because you think you're real cute and you're going to labor traffic them, then you got even less rights. Because not only did you not pay them for the work, but then you've gone ahead and trafficked them, so there's no telling what could happen to you, right? Change a contract. So, and it's important to note all this because I just got really sick of even talking to them, and that's part of the reason why it was like 10 years ago or less that I started to get orders to get people to just go away because I was tired of them arguing with me and, being at my dog or being at other people or, whatever, and just manning everything for free. It was disgusting. And note that this prevented me from going to medical school, mess with my nursing school. I couldn't go to nursing school because of all of it. So it isn't just that it isn't like, oh, boo-hoo, she can go to Hollywood. It's, I was trained to sing and perform and my skills were used for somebody else at the expense of me not being able to go to medical school or nursing school because of it. Yeah, we're all supposed to feel sorry for the WGA and the SAG people while they're on strike when their unions have been deliberately abusing people and using our material and not actually getting us paid because they've been giving our work to people in SAG or WGA who all have connections to the Russian mafia out in Hollywood. Now, noting all this, 50% of Americans no longer even bother to go to movies. And there's a lot of us that don't bother with mainstream music either. You know, you're not going to find me wasting my money at a concert or at a movie theater. I've got too many problems and too much real work to do. I don't have time for it. And there's too many other artists. There's a whole alternative media world that's developed. And noting all this, you have to remember that in the area of DC, there is a bizarre nature of most of the people there tuning into what was considered the old-fashioned media coming out of Hollywood and networks and syndicates that are no longer relevant to the actual media world that's out there on the huge plethora of opportunities and variety of media available. It's very strange because it also starts to look like that Russian and Chinese control over these communications methods have been directly influencing and controlling our U.S. government, especially in the DC area. Now, thankfully, our government is not actually totally centralized to the DC area. So now you know. And we're going to go on and talk about something else here that's really strange, which is that King Charles has a $28 million fund. And I note this because he only uses about $4.8 million of it to cover costs for Prince William, Kate, and Harry. Harry is the Duke of Sussex, right? And he's married to Meghan, who is now for now, the Duchess of Sussex. Because if they get divorced, who knows what happens with her title. But they've had some issues with Meghan Markle because she actually was angry about the amount of money that they could spend on clothing, because the rest of them, like those three, only have a fund of $4.8 million for clothing. She has a much higher amount of money, and she's not comfortable being a working royal or doing any of the duties that go with it that would allow her to take part in their sort of per diem. Obviously, she wanted to go back to work in Hollywood or do something else. And I notice all of this because apparently they asked, like Prince Harry and Meghan asked if they could use Mark Cuban's beach house. And he got really angry at them and wanted them to go away. And then now the Beckhams have filed some kind of complaint. I don't know if it's got to the point of a preventative measure yet or a stalking complaint or even a protective order, but you know, the state's different. Some states call them protective orders, some states call them like, you know, a non-contact order. There's different terms for what's essentially a, you know, an order to say, stay away from me. So, and it's just important to know that they have different names. So, but as far as they goes, Oprah has now been complaining that Meghan Markle has contacted her too much. In addition to Prince Harry is still part of Travel List, which is supposed to be a green initiative that encourages travelers to make greener choices. The CEO of Travel List has said that Sally Darcy has said that he is still in he's still in strategic discussions and making decisions. And unfortunately, now SAG-AFTRA is also angry at Meghan Markle. I'm just trying to read all this because there's all these bizarre events all at once. They're coming out that are really strange. And I don't really care about SAG. They had too many people in it that benefited from the Russian activity and took other people's work. So I feel like it's kind of like a Johnny come lately for them to even care about anything with her. Is that even true? You know, I didn't see it confirmed. Only saw one source on that. But Oprah, the Beckhams, all this other stuff with Prince Charles and the money issues, it's come out repeatedly, is sourced out. And of course, the British tabloids love this stuff. But the British tabloids aren't really like what you call tabloids, and they're naughty. They're just very honest. We're good at doing research. So it's kind of important to look at all of that. What it comes down to is that you have to consider that Meghan Markle comes out of this bizarre company and network of people that are very comfortable with stalking and highly aggressive, and they'll go over people's homes and attack them. And, you know, want to really try to do whatever they can to control other people's lives. And so it's sort of confusing. I mean, the British tabloids have been noting, why is she having problems with the Beckhams and like Oprah now? Well, she also has problems with the governor of California because she's been stalking people. And she's part of this overly aggressive network of people, you know, related to this company that she's a part of that don't have any boundaries and are highly aggressive. So what you're really hearing is that people are just sick of her being so aggressive and scary, basically. And that would be like the kind of behavior you got to have Cersei and Wilhelm. Because Cersei and Wilhelm would totally just go to people's houses and cause havoc and steal and attack them. And just demand whatever they wanted from them. So it's kind of a tricky situation to deal with, but it's important to understand. And that, I think, is really the juxtaposition of events, basically, there, is that she's somebody that's stalkery and aggressive and rude. And probably acts a lot like Circe that I've described in previous episodes. Because she's part of that FSB KGB network of people that don't behave. Anyways, so it needs to be noted that Cardi B got in trouble this past weekend because she actually went ahead and she hit a concert goer with a microphone. So she was actually on stage. This is where it gets really weird. She and another person from her group were actually telling the crowd that they were hot and to splash some water on them. So one of the other concert goers actually threw a bunch of water on her. And instead of being appreciative of it, she got really angry and threw her microphone at the crowd, and she hit one of the concert goers. I'm not sure if it's the same person that actually threw the water, but there was an actual, police filing, 3500 block of Las Vegas Boulevard. It was her DJ that was saying throw some water on us along with her. And that puts a totally different spin on it when some of these people have actually been antagonizing the crowd and then somebody does something in return. I think you're going to find out that a lot of these performers have actually been antagonizing fans or people in the crowds and being rude, and then they're getting hit in return. That's what I think, because I've seen some bad behavior from some of these other performers in the past, and a lot of them are fake. Cardi B is probably another one that doesn't really rap or do any of it and just has it all recorded. And people get hot, they get irritated, they know when they're being lied to. They can react pretty poorly, but it's too bad that a concert goer actually got injured when she threw that microphone. And, she's going to keep that up. I wouldn't go to her show. Nope, I'm not going to pay to go have some spoiled person throw their microphone at me and throw a fit. Anyways, it's important to also note that Lizzo is currently being sued by 2 of her dancers for sexual harassment and racist comments. That actually doesn't surprise me either. Lizzo is another one that got a lot of material and didn't pay for it either. So she's just kind of a wannabe, she's not a real performer. I just don't care when people go out and perform and they do somebody else's work and they didn't pay for it or give credit, and and everything is just fake and they want to pretend to be this great artist. I say pretend to be this great artist because they're really not a good artist at all if it's all stolen from somebody else and they can't even credit them for it. And then, everything is pre-recorded, it's all weirdly mixed, and they have not an idea of their own. That's not an artist. They're not artists. They're just not. So, anyways, that's kind of all the big stuff for today. And, this thing with Meghan Markle, and look, I kind of think somebody's going to get hurt. She's become so aggressive, it just looks like somebody's going to get hurt. I hope nobody does. It's kind of ugly, but the situation is getting more and more strange with her agency and the way she's behaving and their behavior. So, and, somebody's kind of been through it. I mean, I had to take really massive measures to get protection for myself from some of these people. And I'm just a regular chick. I mean, I'm not regular. I have a lot of talent. But, I was somebody that was actually trying to live a normal life and had been threatened and told that I just had to work for free and wasn't allowed to have a job. Well, that's disgusting. I don't have time for that. And, all this has to be discussed in the sense, in upcoming episodes, we're going to talk about Al Capone and the history of Al Capone and how he's been reinterpreted based on current circumstances and what we know now of the Russian mafia today in the U.S. So look for that in an upcoming episode. And I'm going to take us out with Britney Spears' song One More Time, which I did in the teaser. And because we're going to be up at the 20-minute mark, and I just want to get this over with. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So here we go. Britney Spears, Baby One More Time. Baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby, how was I supposed to know that something wasn't right here? Oh, baby, baby, I shouldn't have let you go. And now you're out of sight, yeah, show me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, 'cause I need to know now. Because my loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe, and I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign, hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, baby, baby, the reason I breathe is you. Boy, you got me blinded. Oh, pretty baby, there's nothing that I wouldn't do. It's not the way I planned it. Show me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, 'cause I need to know now. Because my loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe, when I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, baby, baby. How was I supposed to know? Oh, pretty baby, I shouldn't have let you go. Well, I must confess that my loneliness is killing me now. Don't you know I still believe that you will be here and give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. Loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe, when I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. I must confess, my loneliness is killing me now. But you know I still believe that you will be here and give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. And that was all for the Thought Project today. Just so you know, the first episode of August 2023. And that is a song with one too many babies in it. And yes, I had to pull out the sort of vocal fry method of singing in order to sound a little bit more like Britney. So it's more like, oh, baby, baby. Someday we should let Britney sing in her actual natural voice. That's all I got. Have a good one.